Yo, Jazz, we ready to go? Let's get it. I want you to say it with me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Life of Liz.
Let's go.
Don't let this moment was past you. Grab you a pen in the pad. Life is moving too fast. Slow down, live you a life of list. Don't let this moment was past you. Grab you a pen in the pad. Life is moving too fast. Slow down, live you a life of list.
Yo. Thank you so much for hitting that play button and chiming in for another episode of Life of List. I'm telling you, I'm going to do that until the people start doing it with me. If you are a frequent of this podcast, hopefully, whether you're driving or on a treadmill or cleaning up or sitting at your office, wherever you are, when we come on and I say thank you for hitting that play button and listen to another episode of, I'm going to pause and I want you to say Life of List. Thank you so much for chiming in. Yo, I got to shout out Possibilities. I got to shout out Paradigm Shift. I got to shout out my guy Santiago, the man, the myth, the legend, the magic behind the machine. Thank you so much. Jazz here, another producer in spirit. Let's get this episode going. Today we are talking about my kids sleeping. Oh, there's nothing like hearing a kid sleep. I mean, and I'm not talking about like the snore sleep. I'm talking about I played hard. I did all my homework. I did all my chores. Maybe a different sleep would be if you've ever held a baby on your chest and you just lean back and they have like that slow, that methodical, that rhythmic, just the I'm safe in your arms and you love me and they smell like baby and they're soft and they haven't got a chance to talk back yet. And, you know, like they eat what you feed them and you burp them and you change them and everything's okay. Like that kind of sleep. There's absolutely nothing like hearing a kid sleep. That's so precious. It's almost hypnotizing. And one of the reasons I named this chapter Kids Sleep is because there are very few quiet moments in my home. We have a very active home. And my wife and I, we love it. We absolutely love it. We love when our kids and their friends come in. We love hosting people. We love having dinners, and we have a pretty cool backyard with the garden back there and a covered patio and a fire pit and furniture and a ceiling fan. And we've thrown up a screen and watched movies. We've had a Hawaiian theme in our backyard. Like we've done some really, really cool things. And there's this buzz that happens when people are there. It's the chatter. It's the isolated conversations. It's the clinking of glasses and the silverware on plates, right? It's the open and close of the fridge. It's the doorbell, ding dong, like letting us know that more people are there. It's so cool to have that energy in the house. But what I love more than all of those things is when the house is quiet. And even to this day, my kids are teenagers. And I go into their rooms and I love hearing them sleep. I'm getting emotional just talking about it right now. There's no one in this room. It's just me. And I'm thinking about my kids sleeping. And it's wonderful for them to rest, for them to be safe in the environment and trust that the space that we've created is conducive for them recharging. They feel they feel seen and they belong in this space. I absolutely love it. And one of the things that I've discovered is the reason that I love it so much. And I've narrowed it down and I've been really trying to figure out why I enjoy hearing it. It's because at the end of the day, when my children are asleep, in the comfort and safety of their beds, I feel accomplished as a parent. You know, when you've done all that you were supposed to do, or all that you could think to do, you know, for me, as a provider, as a protector, you know, I feel the same way when my wife is asleep as well. Like when she's laying next to me and there's no strife between us and we've gone to bed and we didn't have an argument or we didn't have a disagreement, you know, like any scenario where I can create some smoothness and some soundness in the environment, I feel accomplished as a parent. And one of the things that I love about this concept is because I can identify this feeling everywhere I go. When I go to work, when I'm out in the community, when I'm hanging out with my friends, there's this hum of peace and there's this hum of belonging. And I want you all to think about it in your spaces, in your area. Can you identify it? I want you to think about it right now. I want you to close your rhetorical eyes. If you're in a space where you can actually close them, I want you to close them through the airwaves, through this virtual remote setting. I want you to trust me. And I want you to identify how it feels. Well, either when you're in your home alone or when you're in the office. I know the offices that I've worked in, they have a hum. There's a hum of like the clickety clack of fingernails and fingers on keyboards, or there's like this hum of people walking down the hallway, or the water cooler conversation. Like there's a hum when there's no strife and everything is peaceful. In my neighborhood, there's the birds chirping and the dogs barking and the cars going up and down the street, and I can hear the rubber on the pavement and kids are playing. Like there's this hum that just, it's peaceful in that space. I love it when I'm able to go to a basketball game in our sporting event, and there's this hum, like there's the squeak of the shoes on the hardwood, and there's the bounce of the ball, and there's the band and the student section. And like it has a hum where there's sort of a peacefulness about it. And when I say quiet, I'm not talking about decibel level. I'm talking about your spirit and your soul feeling comfortable in that space. And everybody that's listening to it can identify it. You know what it feels like. You know what it sounds like. And for me, I start this conversation out talking about my kids, but it's really about people in my life with whom I feel safe, with whom I feel comfortable. What are those spaces? Actual physical spaces, not only with people, but that I can pull up my laptop, or I can take my shoes off, or I can carry my coffee mug around, or I can connect with the people that I see every single day, or I can walk down the street. And there's this hum of safety, of protection, of belonging, of peace. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about it being quiet. I'm talking about this space that you feel comfortable. And not that there aren't worries and concerns and things that go wrong, but even in conflict, you don't feel like you want to run away. You feel like you want to lean in and dig into that space because it's a space that you're invested in. Now I want to challenge you. How can we not only inhabit in those spaces more often, but how can we recreate? How can we replicate? How can we duplicate those spaces in other areas where there's conflict? I don't know what the recipe is. I really can't tell you. I know at home, it's when everybody is clean and everybody is full and there's no divisiveness amongst us. I know that's how it feels at home. And I can't really tell you what I've done over time to make it happen. I just know I protected, I provided, I found space where people belong and have purpose. I'm passionate about my family, and I tell them how much I love them often. And maybe that is the equation. But for you, I want you to not only silo and insulate yourself in those spaces. I don't want you to just do that. I want you to go out and create and replicate and duplicate spaces that feel like this. I want more spaces in my life to have that feeling. How do I do it? I got to be intentional. I got to find other people who enjoy that space and that feeling as well. I got to invest in it. I got to put my money where my mouth is. I got to put my heart where my habits are, right? I got to put my passion where the people are. I got to go out and I got to create these spaces, because there is no space that I spend a lot of time in where I don't feel like I'm safe or that I belong or that I have some skin in the game or I'm invested. And that's not to talk about that these are spaces where I'm not challenged. Right? I encourage people to get into spaces. And I'll say this, when we are in our comfort zone, right? That's a place where there's not much growth, right? We're not challenged. We're not stretched there. And so I'm talking about how can we expand our comfort zone to include areas of conflict, areas of divisiveness, and make those areas places where we're comfortable. That's so good. Oh, that's so good. I'm preaching to the choir right now. I'm talking to myself. How can we use our skills and our talents, our investment, our values, our focus, our passion, our purpose, and go throughout the world, throughout our communities and our overlapping circles, and expand our comfort zone to include places which are not currently comfortable? Oh, that's so good. I'm clapping here in the studio because it's so good. So I started at home. And then I expanded that to include my friends, my family, and my business, and my community, and mentoring, and schools, and my blog, and all these different things. And I want to expand that to as many places as possible. I want to challenge you to expand as well. I'm talking about my kids being asleep, but really what I'm talking about is creating spaces, being involved in, being invested in, making places where other people and myself can feel comfortable moving forward and connecting. Can you all do it? Hopefully you nodded. Can you do it for me? I appreciate it. It's another episode of Life of List. Go get the book. Check us out. Like, share, subscribe. Let the people know you experienced some good stuff here. Catch you next time. Thanks again for listening to another episode of My Life of List, hosted by yours truly, Derek Sire, powered by Paradigm Shift, recorded in the Possibility Studios. Signing off until next time.
Don't let that small moments pass you. Grab you a pen and a pad. Life is moving too fast. Slow down. Live you a life of list.